If you're a final expense producer, you really need to listen to what I'm about to tell you because it has direct and possibly dramatic implications to your ability to generate final expense leads over the next couple of months. Hello and greetings and salutations. My name is David Duford, owner of Duford Insurance Group, where I train and recruit agents nationally to sell things like final expense, Medicare, and annuities face-to-face and over the phone. Thanks for joining. So the purpose of this video is really generated towards those final expense agents out there, you guys, who are right now in the thick of it, writing lots of business, things are going great, but have no idea what's coming down the pike as it relates to your ability to easily and affordably generate final expense leads. Normally this time of year, I usually give the warning shot fired about AEP, but we have another variable that is uncommon yet will drive costs up across the board and make it more difficult for agents to generate leads, and that's this thing we call the American presidential election. There is going to be a lot of money in play over the next couple of months, especially for all of us that are using digital-based leads. There are going to be more people pushing out leads and content and ads as it relates to getting clients started on Medicare, as well as getting certain presidential candidates reelected or replaced. So it's important that you understand what to do considering that. So first of all, what are some of the consequences that you have to consider? The big thing right now is how it's going to affect your lead flow. So I just talked to an agent that wrote $42,000 a month with me last month, and he said that when there was some special election in Kansas that was going on, and there was a ton of money being poured into the state, and he noticed a dramatic slowdown, not dramatic, maybe a little too dramatic of a term, but a noticeable slowdown in the ability for him to generate leads. And what has happened because of that is that it just meant it was slower for him to get his leads filled. And it's because all these people on Facebook, where a lot of us get our leads, only have so much real estate to scroll through their news feeds. And there's only so many ads that can be showed there, and it's all done on an auction or bidding process. So what's happened is a lot of the leads that we normally got at a certain cost to the vendor now have quietly or slowly stepped up in scope, especially now that the election season is really starting to pick up. It's getting down to the wire now. And this is also in combination with Medicare Advantage and Medicare AEP, really everything Medicare, and they're being a lot more interested in buying product there. There obviously is going to be thus more money poured into advertising on Facebook. So what are some things you can do to combat this? Because you really should do this. You need to be prepared for this. It can have an effect on your ability to generate final expense leads. I think the number one thing you can do right now is try to front load as much as you can possible your lead flow before things really get hot and heavy, as I would imagine in October especially. It's going to be big time in October and definitely going into November, albeit the political stuff should cool off by then, but AEP will be right in the thick of it. So you really need to start thinking about how to accumulate more leads right now. Get things going sooner. You might have to sit on some leads a little bit longer, but that might be okay considering you might not be able to get leads as quickly as possible. So I think that's number one. Number two, if you've got an existing book of business, it's a really smart idea to plan on visiting them to kind of fill in some of these gaps that if you can't spend as much as you want to front load your leads, that at least you know you have some fallback metrics in place. You may also want to consider buying aged work direct mail leads or some kind of aged work lead, like what we have, for example, in my agency where agents across the country join it. We do have the ability to sell them aged work leads for cheap. The nice thing about those is they're quick turn. They just take a couple of days to get sent to your CRM so that you can print off and go work. And albeit it's not the primary strategy or really the ideal one, I want fresh and exclusive leads. I do want to have my agents have a backstop, a plan B if they can't get leads when they most need it. Now, I've lived through in this business the re-election of Barack Obama, the election of Trump, and then now this 2020 race. So I've been through a couple of these, and of course, throughout since 2011, I've withheld in the AEP times. I've never seen, in the case I'm alarming some of you a little too much, I've never seen it where it was impossible to get leads. I have seen it where the leads may be slightly more difficult to deal with because they think it might be about Medicare or something like that. But now the big thing I think that we see, even since 2016, that we see in 2020 is there's way more agents now than there were 4 years ago doing a lot of their marketing digitally, okay? And I can tell you, all of the Facebook vendors are going to be feeling this. There's not going to be a lot of people that are going to be able to avoid this. And what's going to happen is it's going to extend the way or the wait to fill the lead orders. And in some cases, it may cause some vendors to charge a little bit more. So these are some things to consider. Now in the direct mail space, it might be worth your time to consider going into a fixed price lead program if you can find one that works well. We've got access to good ones in my program. And if it's available in your state, at least you can buy the lead with the fixed pricing attached to it. That's like an insurance policy, right? At least you know what you're going to pay down to the dollar. Because direct mail is going to be getting nailed too, albeit not nearly that bad, but it is something that is affected. So there's that, and then there's also, and we've got this a little bit later, but it's something to consider, which is the Christmas holiday season. That also tends to slow down on the lead flow a little bit as well, or at least affect buying habits and response rates. So just some things to think about. If you have some questions or concerns about this, and you want me to expand on anything as it relates to generating leads and getting ready for it, as far as the political season and AEP season goes, please comment below. Reach out to me at davidduford.com/contact. Be happy to help you in any way possible. And if you're interested in selling final expense or Medicare or even annuities, I can help you with that. My job is to train agents to become top producers in all of those products. And you can simply learn more by going to davidduford.com and then clicking the FAQ button at the top of the page to start the process of learning more about how my agency works. David Duford at davidduford.com, Duford Insurance Agency Group, whatever it's called. All right, guys, see you next time.